Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about a little bit is the Galaxy A55. Now, you guys know I do own the Galaxy A53, and I skipped last year's Galaxy A54 in favor of waiting for the A55 to kind of just have a decent upgrade from current device. And yes, this is not the only device that I have. I have the Pixel 7a also, but there's a bit of a concern that I'm seeing in a lot of other people talking about the Galaxy A55, and that being is the pricing of it, which I agree with. That is going to be a concern. So, but before I dive into it, for a lot of you spec heads out there, I took the liberty of just look. I wanted to look at the specs, so I figured I'll share it with you. At least the stuff that stands out for me. Okay, so like the display size is supposed to be 6.5 inches, 2400 by 1080. The resolution, the 20 by 9 aspect ratio at 405 pixels per inch. Super AMOLED display, 120 hertz refresh. For the chip, it's going to be using the Exynos 1480, and base model would be 128 of storage with 6 gigabytes of RAM. Launches with Android 14, 5,000 milliamp hour battery, fast charging, wired charging at 25 watts. I don't see anything for wireless charging. Triple camera on this one, 50 megapixel with optical image stabilization and autofocus, and you got 12 megapixel ultra wide, a 5 megapixel macro but no depth sensor, and then a 32 megapixel selfie cam. The back of it, this time it's supposed to be glass, a metal frame. So the back of this thing is supposed to be glass with the metal frame, but this says plastic, so I don't know. IP67 water and dust resistant, in-display fingerprint sensor, 5G capable, obviously. Still has expanded storage with micro SD, and it's supposed to have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Like, return of the headphone jack after they took away in the A53 and then the A54. They're gonna bring it back in the A55. Hmm. Touche, Samsung, if that's true. Bluetooth 5.3. And let's see, anything else? NFC and yeah. Okay. Anyways, but that's just some of the specs for the Galaxy A55 that's rumored right now. Of course, we'll know for sure once the device totally drops. Um, so there is rumor that it might go up in price. There is rumor that it might stay at the price that the A54 was at, which was 449. I'm not entirely sure about that. If they raise it to 499, I mean, Samsung, you don't want to follow the footsteps of Google and the Google Pixel 7a, as the 6a launched at a $449 price tag, and then the 7a launched at a $499 price tag, being $100 less than the Pixel 7, but not being so far apart as far as performance. And I think that's like the thing. Like, I have a deep interest in these mid-range, well, flagship mid-ranges is what they're calling them, but I got a deep interest in them because I love seeing something that, is more affordable for consumers out there, but delivers, in performance in all areas. And, that's why the Pixel A series has been one that I'm just like, yeah. The Pixel 8a, I am thinking about getting it. Originally, I wanted to get the Galaxy A55, and I'm not sure. So this year, you'll find out which one is going to be it. It'd either be the Pixel 8a or the Galaxy A55. Because the 7a is not bad at all whatsoever. It's not obsolete in any way, and I could stretch it another couple of years on it if I really wanted to. But I mean that remains to be seen. So like one of the biggest things that I know that people are going to be upset about is the Exynos chip that's going to be in the Galaxy A55. A lot of people are pretty much like stressing how the Exynos chips in the previous Galaxy A50 generations haven't been the best, and I can agree with that. When this phone first came out, it was super laggy. The Exynos 1280 was just it was really bad. Android 13 just kind of alleviated some of it. Android 14 completely smoothed this thing out, which is why my SIM card is back inside of it, because it is a pleasure to use it when everything is smooth and it's not, janky and jittery and all that. It's going. as expected of a flagship mid-ranger. Um, Now the Galaxy A55 is supposed to be bringing this near Galaxy S24 experience, the feel and everything, right? So, okay, I'm more concerned about the software and how it's going to perform more than anything. The Galaxy A55 with the Exynos 1480 chip, that is to be seen, especially, when we've heard news that Android is going to be basically updating the kernel to, I think it's Linux 6.1, which should yield better battery life, better performance out of Android devices and everything, because obviously the software needs to talk to the hardware. So therefore, having a better kernel that can execute that should bring out the best in performance of your hardware. And this remains to be seen, and this remains to know if the A55 is in fact going to even get that, because as of right now, Google's only stated that tensor-based pixels are going to be getting that update on the kernel. So we'll see what happens in the future. However, um, I know Samsung wants to go back to format with the Exynos chips. They want to redo them because their reputation is tarnished. They're still dependent on Qualcomm chips to deliver the best experience, and Google has actually stepped away from that, right? With the tensor-based chip in them, has actually performed. Yes, the first two generations are always going to be wonky. No one ever gets things perfect right out the gate. There's always going to be this thing where it's just time and development. That happened. The Tensor G3 is getting good appraises from a lot of people out there. Shout out to Google for that. And I do think that Samsung needs to kind of go and fix whatever is the issue with the Exynos chips. Fix that so they're not so laggy and so janky. That's the biggest problem that people have with it. Now, as far as the pricing of the Galaxy A55, if it hits it up to $499 for the phone, I think that's going to be a major turnoff for a lot of people. 449, was I guess people's limited points, because you're looking at flagship mid-range devices actually, busted in and getting into 2014 flagship price. And we're talking about flagship premium price back in 2014. They're already starting to get into that point, and the whole point of mid-rangers was to be affordable for people to get. When you got things like inflation, you got people that's like dealing with recovering from the world problem that we had a couple of years ago, and just everything costing so much more. Again, the inflation, rent, electricity, food, gas, everything's went up in price. This would be the perfect time for these OEMs to really showcase how their mid-range devices will stack up against their premium flagships, and actually put them out at a price that people can afford, so that way people can basically grab them and be good to go with them. That is originally my thought process on all this, but to see them actually going up in price too makes me wonder. I mean, these devices, the A series devices from Google, the biggest thing about them, and the reason why I really enjoy them and I really back them, is because the corners cut has to do, of course, with the material and things like that. As far as for the chip that they use their flagship chip inside of it. So it's supposed to yield the same experience that you would get from the flagships, and it does yield the same experience to like the Pixel 6 or to the Pixel 7. So this is where I think Samsung could take a page out of the playbook of Google and do the same for the A50 series um, that they have. They have a ton of mid-range and budget devices, but the A50 is one that's really eyeballed by a lot of people, and I think that they can definitely take a page out of Google's book by just literally doing what they did. I mean, if you have to stick with Qualcomm, maybe you don't have to put in the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, but maybe you can put in the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, in your mid-range today. I think that would do it some good. But that's just my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts, comments, concerns, emotional outbursts? You guys know where to do that in the comment section. Smash the like button if you guys enjoyed today's vlog. If you're not subscribed to my channel and you do subscribe, I would deeply appreciate that. And there are members. If you join as a member, you're going to get some videos specifically for you guys. So take a look at those, because they are coming, and they will only be for members only, never going public. That announcement just happened. Boom.